you wherever in the world you are. Welcome to the Health Zone Show with Mícheál Ó Mathúna, where with each episode I explore interesting health and well-being topics with a thought-provoking guest. These topics can range from nutrition, relationships, spirituality, finance, creativity, mental health and much, much more, so that you can live a healthier, happier and more authentic life. Guests on the show vary from health experts, spiritual teachers, finance wizards, sports legends, to ordinary people with extraordinary lives. Find us on facebook.com/The Health Zone Show, or you can also join our Facebook group, The Health Zoners. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest under The Health Zone. Check out our new updated website, www.thehealthzoneshow.com, and at the moment you can receive a free copy of my latest ebook, 7 Ways to Boost Your Overall Well-Being when you join The Health Zone.
Paving your way for a healthier day, The Health Zone.
Today I'm chatting with best-selling author and peace ambassador Lorna Byrne. Hi Lorna.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Lorna, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I do a lot. I give people a lot of encouragement and hope, and help them to connect more so with, the spiritual self, their soul themselves. And I think that's very important. I wrote my first book, I think it was, 8 years ago maybe, or 10 years ago. And it's called Angels in My Hair. And I suppose I was just kind of very afraid at the time when the angels would always say, Lorna, you have to write about God and the angels, God and us, they used to say. And I'm dyslexic, so I don't know if you knew that. And I couldn't read or write. And even as an adult, when I was married to Joe, and before he died, I would have to spell my name in my head as I would be writing it. The way you would hide all of these things. And I see angels physically, and I think that gave people great hope right across the world. When I had finished writing the book Angels in My Hair, I just thought, God wouldn't ask me to write anymore, that would be it. And I felt at the time that, even if one person in the world got hope from the book, or, it saved them in some way, my job would be complete. But what happened was it just went worldwide. It became a bestseller. And so many people got so many messages within the book for themselves. And I never realized all those messages were in the book, because I was just writing, telling, about my life, the secrets, of being able to see the angels physically since I was an infant, and not even knowing they were angels at the time. And I suppose my life has changed a huge amount, because now I have written 4 or 5 books, and I'm writing 3 others at the moment. And I'm talking all around the world and talking about peace and prayer, and helping to help people to believe in themselves, and not to give up on themselves or to give up on others, giving that hope. So I talk to people of all faiths, all religions, and even those that would say they don't believe in anything, and that does amaze me, because I never thought that I would ever be one day, traveling around the world, because I'd never traveled from Ireland, and we were very poor, just like most people in Ireland at that time. So it was kind of a shock being on a plane, and it still is today. I don't know what God is up to, I just say to myself, because I know the world at the moment is in ups and downs. But I believe there's great hope. And I believe that we can make a better future for us all, and work towards that. So I don't know if that's about myself or about God and the angels, but I feel it's mainly about everybody out there to try and enjoy, the simple things of life. I think people have forgotten them. They have forgotten to get out there into the sunshine when it's shining, or when they're out walking, to actually enjoy it, or going for a cup of tea with a friend, to actually enjoy it, not to be feeling things as a burden. So I better let you say something. Mícheál.
I know you felt like an outsider for a lot of your life. How does it feel now for people to know who you really are?
I suppose I know a lot of people, all across the world, hundreds and thousands of them would say, we know you, Lorna. And I think they do. They know about some of me, but I don't think they know all about me. And I suppose in one way, I still feel like an outsider, but not as much as I did at the beginning. I know there's people, men, women, and even children of all ages and all faiths, now know that they have a guardian angel. Now know that God is real, and when you hear from a child even saying, I'm so glad, I know I have a guardian angel, Lorna, and because it's helping me in school every day. Or you hear from a child that says they were being bullied in school, and because they know of their guardian angel, they asked for help. And I think it was that faith and that belief that the bullies became their friend. It changed things. It's amazing when you allow the spiritual side of yourself out, and you're never too young or never too old to allow that to happen, just to have a little faith, a little belief, how it can change your life, and even have you, in a sense, enjoy being alive. That was another thing. I realized that a lot of people didn't really enjoy being alive. They would just say, they have too many burdens, too many things are wrong. God has never helped me, or if they have a guardian angel, they would say the guardian angel has never helped them. And I would just say to them, well, maybe now you should sit back and say to yourself, okay, I will ask my guardian angel. I will ask for that help, and I will listen, and try my best to go in the direction your guardian angel is telling you. I always say to people, when if all of a sudden it crossed your mind to pick up that glass of water or go in and buy an ice cream, that's your guardian angel actually teaching you to respond to what it's telling you to do. But adults have a huge habit of saying, but what does it mean? What's in it for me? So they don't do it. And lots of the times, we would think back to the past and we'd say, well, I did have the feeling, I should have made that phone call, or I should have sent that letter, and I never did. So it's actually to listen, because it makes life much, much easier. Like sometimes I fight with the angels, I know you might laugh at that, but sometimes, I would say to them, well, listen here, I need to clean the windows, and they would say, Lorna, it was okay for you to clean the windows 10 years ago, but don't do it, you'll only hurt yourself. And I always remember one particular day just ignoring that and saying to them, go away, leave me alone, I just can't stand the dirt to them. And of course I hurt myself, so you can't blame God or the angels when you don't listen. It was my fault, and I suppose I could have said it was theirs, but it was my fault.
And Lorna, is there a difference between our intuition and the guidance we get from our guardian angels?
No, I don't believe there is, because your guardian angel communicates with everybody in different ways, and sometimes they could communicate with you in 3 or 4 different ways. And a lot of the time it is, a thought that comes into your mind. as I said about going left or right or picking up that glass of water. And I think it is the thing to respond to it. But I'm always saying to people, your guardian angel will never ask you to do anything wrong. And if a thought is coming into your mind, to be selfish or mean or to hurt someone or, to do something wrong, that is not your guardian angel. And I always say that's the other side who I don't like talking about. And I have to smile because since I don't know what book I wrote that in now, to be honest, I probably have written it in the mall, just reminding people. But lots of people have said, that has made a big difference to them, because as soon as a negative thought will come into their mind, they said they throw it out. And I would always say to people, put it in a bag then and put it in the cornfield. Don't listen to it. Even if you have to dig a hole and bury it, don't listen to it. So sometimes again, it's, a sign your guardian angel will give you. And sometimes it's not actually a sign you've asked for. It could be just something that keeps on reappearing over and over again and again. And a lot of the time as well, we don't notice it, but we may notice it afterwards. We may say, oh yes, I did notice that sign, but it didn't really register with me. But I do have to smile, because one of the most common signs people get is a feather. When a feather comes out of nowhere. I'm asking the angels that are here with me, and I know there's lots there with you. There was a lady the other day who said, I just met her on the street in Kilkenny. I had seen her many times, and I saw these plasters on her face, and the angels just said, Lorna, stop and say hello to her. And it's things like that your guardian angel would say to you as well. Give someone a smile or say hello, and if they hesitate, they may want to talk to you, so talk with them, because when you do things like that to help others, you're actually helping yourself. And I know they are only little things, but all those little things are very important. But I will go back to the lady with the plasters on her face, and she said to me, I recognize you. And I said, oh, I didn't know that. And she says, oh, I have read all your books. And I just said, thank you. And I said to her, because the angels each side of her, not her guardian angel were right there, but what I call the unemployed angels were pointing to plasters on her face. And I said to her, what happened to your face? It looks all cracked and sore. And she said she'd been sending letters into the health department, trying to get a hospital appointment, and so was her doctor, but nothing is coming back. And she was saying, I'm not really worried about them. She just turned around and just said, I lost my husband a few years ago, and one day she said she was walking up the lane passing her house because she lived out in the country, and she said, I was really, really stressed. I was, in a very bad way. And she said she felt so lonely because she missed her husband. And she said, all of a sudden, she said, I just felt his presence around me. I knew it was him. She said, I just stopped, and she said, Lorna, I felt my husband's arms wrapped around me. And I just said to her, of course it was your husband. A soul God sends our loved ones back to us, to help us when we are grieving. And I think people shouldn't deny that. I think they should acknowledge it within themselves. I said to her, well, hold on to that and know that when her time comes, which is a long, long way off, she will be back with her husband again in heaven. She will see him again. And I think that's very important to remember. And I can't even remember the question you asked, but I'd have to say, that is one of the messages in the books that have given so much hope and comfort to people all around the world, and again of all faiths and even of none, to know that each and every human being, whether they're good or bad, has a soul and a guardian angel, and their soul is that little spark, that speck of light of God, and because of that, we live. It's only our human body that dies, and I know in one way sometimes I would give out to God because my husband Joe died young, and my youngest little girl Megan, I think she was, God, I can't remember now her age. I'm thinking of 4, but there's something about happened when she was 2 as well. But just always remember your loved ones give you signs because God allows that to happen. And your guardian angel gives you signs as well. The angels are always giving us signs. The thing is not to ask the question about, what does it mean? Like if suddenly a flower landed on your doorstep, that shouldn't be there. It's like pick it up and say thank you.
Say somebody listening in now today wants to tune in and communicate with their angels more, how could they do that?
I think it's to me it's very simple because it's normal and natural for myself. I talk to them every day and I hear them as physically as I would hear you, and I see them physically, and I know that makes it much harder for everyone else, because no one else can see them in the way I see them, and I don't know why God chose me. I often would say to myself, why didn't He choose someone else that could do more? But He chose a person that is, to me, dyslexic, can't really read very well. I have to learn things off by heart in that way. But I think the first thing to do is just say to yourself, what have you got to lose? Don't be cynical, don't deny, don't say to yourself, oh, it's hopeless. Give yourself a chance because it's worth it, and say to yourself, well, I'm going to believe, I'm going to say good morning to my guardian angel every morning when I wake up. I'm going to, no matter what the weather is like or what's happening that day, and you may know what will be happening that day. It could be something good for you or it could be something stressful. But to say good morning to your guardian angel and just say, I know you're right there with me. I know you love me unconditionally, and I ask for help within this situation and for it to turn out, the best way possible, not just for yourself, but for others if others are involved as well. And I think just to, sometimes I would say to people, ask for a sign, but make it small, because it's not easy for the angels or for your guardian angel to give you a sign, because it's like a communication with others. Just say you asked for a bouquet of flowers, or you asked for a friend who you haven't spoken to in years to give you a call. Maybe you had a row with them long ago, or you fell out with them, or maybe you just lost contact. But your guardian angel has to be in contact with theirs. And again, it would be that your friend would be listening. That they would respond to the thought of giving you a call. But maybe sometimes when you think of that, it's you who's meant to give them a call because they have been asking all the time. So it's kind of, to recognize the signs that they give you as well. And some of them can be very, very small. And it really is just to believe. Children, don't question. when a child realizes they have a guardian angel, they just believe, and that makes such a huge difference. So it is believe. A woman was telling me, she says, where would I put this? Her guardian angel didn't help her at all. She had a legal problem, and it didn't actually fully go her way. And she just said, my guardian angel didn't help at all. And I know I can't tell you the story, but when she was telling me the story, I just said to her guardian angel, how could she expect, something to be turned around that wasn't fully correct? The angels won't do that for you either. If you're doing something wrong, you have to acknowledge you're doing it, and you have to be fair, and you have to allow, your morals to come into it, what's right and wrong, in that way. So again, when you ask for something, if it's wrong and you've done something wrong, you can't expect your guardian angel to help you to bring that around. And I think you know what I mean in that way. But it is just believing. To me, it is very, very simple, or just to sit and stay quiet and listen. It's like emptying your mind. It's like, sometimes nowadays you see people out keeping themselves fit. They're out running, and I would see the guardian angel with them. But as well as that, sometimes I would see an angel with them that would be encouraging them to not to give up. And sometimes that looks very, very beautiful. And sometimes I would see an angel, doing everything possible to help to get someone to become fit, to become healthier. Sometimes I would see an angel with what I would call like a string or a rope around someone, and they're kind of pulling it, looking as if they're pulling it to help the person to walk a little faster, or an angel would be at each side of the person and helping them to move that little bit quicker, just to help them to get fit. So it is again to believe and to ask for help, and even to ask your guardian angel to have an unemployed angel in and around you. I could tell you so many stories, but I wouldn't know where to start. The unemployed angels are angels that are in the world today. They're poured, I just say, from the heavens in the bucketfuls, and they come tumbling down in that way. And since I was a child, I called them the unemployed angels, because I would see them just as I see them today, doing everything possible to help a person in the physical ways. And since I have written about them, more and more people are asking for an unemployed angel to help them. It could be in your gardening, it could be painting your house, and sometimes I would have to smile because, I'd see an unemployed angel helping someone carry a bag. And the bag may be heavy, and you may think it's heavy, but that angel is actually taking some of the weight of it. And to me, that's incredible. Or just to see the unemployed angels helping a mother or a father to cope with the children, or see, the guardian angel of a child, whispering to a child, telling them not to go too far, stay in earshot of mom or dad. In that way, I just see what I call every day the trivial things of life, and see the angels helping there at every moment. And I think if we believed a little bit more, we would just grow that little bit more spiritual and our connection would be stronger. And in a sense, what I would say, we would actually be happier because we would make less mistakes, just like myself cleaning the windows. I shouldn't have done it when I was told not to. So it is like, again, if you're driving the car and the thought comes into your mind to slow down, slow down. And I have often met people who have said that thought came into their mind and they slowed down and nothing happened, but that's why nothing happened. Or sometimes they slow down and a couple of miles down the road there was an accident. But the main thing is that when they tell you to slow down or not to do something, is that you avoid something. Something negative doesn't happen. Or sometimes when they tell you not to do a particular thing, or you have that strong feeling inside of you, and it is so that maybe you're hoping for a particular thing, but something else better happens for you. You've given, what would you say, your life that opportunity, you have opened that door. So I would say to anyone, just open that door. You have nothing to lose, only to gain in believing in your guardian angel. And I think that is very important, and especially if someone is feeling down within themselves, again, to know that, or suicidal, to know that you have a guardian angel there, and it loves you unconditionally. And to your guardian angel, you are their number one.
And Lorna, what do you think stops people from believing that angels exist?
I think what stops them is actually the world. I think because, man has said, what you can't see is not real. The only thing is I see them, and I see them physically. As I said, I would see you. And because people are afraid, just like I was afraid, and that was one of the things that had me afraid, was that I'd be ridiculed, severely by everybody in the world. But it didn't happen that way. And I think that is one of the things why people are afraid. They are afraid of the supernatural, the spiritual side of life. But that's what your soul is. That's what God is, and that's what your guardian angel is. It's part of you. But I don't think there is any need to be afraid. I think the more faith you have, and it remains good, the more you recognize all the blessing and good things in your life. I met a young man there a while ago, and he had been in a bad accident a couple of years ago, he said, Lorna, even though it took me this length of time to recover, he just said he believed in his guardian angel, and he was asking for the help, and he said he was praying and had that faith. And he said, now that I'm able to get up and walk, not completely do all the ordinary things that you and I can do, but he said he's getting there. He said, he thanks God, for the blessing that he has of life. And he just smiled at me and said, Lorna, I understand why you would say to people to enjoy life, to realize that you are alive. He said, I was nearly dead, and he said, I struggled to stay alive. And he said, I don't know how I held on to that string of life, but I did. But he said he knew he couldn't have done it on his own. And I just said to him, no, you didn't do it on your own. You had that help of your family and friends, but you had the help of your guardian angel as well. Sometimes, even doctors and people that recover from something just so traumatic would say they can't really answer that question. They just know. And I think that's what we all need to remember, is to enjoy life and to remember you're alive. If you're out there doing your jog or digging the garden or swimming or just being with your friends, just remind yourself you have the gift of life. You are alive and you can do all of these things instead of looking at all the things you can't do. But maybe later on you will be able to do some of those things you can't do at the moment, and that's what that young man was hoping for as well. You know, that he could get back to playing football, you know, that he could get back up on his bike again. You know, the things that a lot of young men do today.
And Lorna, what do you think happens when a person is thinking or even decides to take their own life?
I know they are in such a dark place, and I know the guardian angel and all of the angels are doing everything possible to help them to see the light of hope, and I know the light of hope is kept burning in front of them. But sometimes they don't make it, you know, and to me, I wish everybody could make it. I wish nobody, man, woman, or child, would commit suicide, because they have to remember they're needed and they are loved. I always say, like I have done book signings down in Cork, I always remember this 19-year-old saying to me, Lorna, I've been thinking strongly of committing suicide because he couldn't see a future for himself, but he was only 19. And, you know, my heart went out to him, and his guardian angel was literally wrapped around him. They usually are when someone is in that state. And I just said to him, you know, have you read the books? And he said, no. He said, my mom has dragged me here. There she is over there. And I saw his mom. She looked like a lovely, lovely woman. And I said to him, you know, go home and read the first book and realize you have a guardian angel and how important you are, not just to me, but to everyone in the world. And that your mom loves you and everyone loves you. And that, you know, you will get through this. And in a couple of years' time, I said to him, when you have achieved already things you love to do, or you have discovered things you love to do, I said, you will be saying to yourself, how on earth did I ever consider committing suicide? It'll boggle you, I said to him, and I don't know if that's a word or not. And I said to him, you must promise me that the next time I'm here doing a book signing that you will be here. And I don't want to ever hear of you committing suicide. I know that young man didn't, and that's back a number of years ago. And I think when someone is in a dark place, it is for the rest of us to listen as well, and the rest of us to be patient when someone is like that, and to give them all the encouragement we can, and not to be giving out to them or running them down. And I know that can be hard as well. But listen, if there's anyone listening in on your show, listen, don't commit suicide, because I know you will get through it. Each and every one of you will get through that hard time, that dark place. You will get out of that dark place, because that dark place already has a light burning brightly in it. So just open your eyes and see it. And it's right there in front of you. And I love you.
Thanks very much, Lorna. It's beautiful. And I know in your book, Love from Heaven, you said that most people lock the love that they have inside. Why do you think people do that?
It's because of hurt and pain, and because people, you know, we've been taught to do that for, what would you say, hundreds and hundreds of years. That if someone hurts you, you know, you're not to allow your love out, or you're not to forgive. So we lock it away. And I think that is something that's, you know, when the angel said, you know, I was trite about love, you know, about that part about our soul that is pure love. You have pure love inside of you, and it's 100%. But yet so many people feel that, well, if I give love to this person and to that person, I won't receive it back, or that it will, in a sense, dilute their love. But your 100% pure love never becomes diluted. You always remain that. And it's more than 100%. They're just numbers I use so that people can understand. You're born pure love, and that is what your soul is. It's that speck of light of God, and it can never be diluted. You can never run short of it. It's there all of the time. And all that we have to do is allow ourselves to be compassionate and loving, allow ourselves that it's okay to have emotions, because that is love we're feeling. It's okay to cry, because again, that's love. And every time we do that, we're releasing more love into the world. People don't show, and even children, which is so sad, don't show enough love. But again, parents or grandparents sometimes are very strict and very hard, and they forget to give a hug. They forget to say, I love you, to say to the child, I love you. Because in a lot of talks since I wrote that book, I have been asking the audience to turn to the person beside them, even if it's a stranger, and say, I love you, and give them a hug. I would remind them, to get on the phone, or when you get home, to say those that are close to you in your family, you love them. And if someone is not there, give them a call and tell them you love them. It's really very important to allow that love out, because sometimes when someone dies, we are extremely hurt because we never said we love them, and all the time we did. So we have to let out more love. It's pure, it's inside of us, and it's there. And the world needs more love. There's more hate in the world. We allow more hate out and more revenge out, and we allow more anger, and that's all the human part of us. But God has given us a soul that is pure love, and that's what makes us so human, is that love. Because that love can conquer everything. That love can overcome that hate. It can overcome that revenge. I always met a man, and I know I've told the story before, but this was going back 10 years ago or so, and he said, I read your book, and he was Muslim, and he said, I done something terrible, and I didn't realise how terrible, horrible thing I did, how bad I was, how evil I was, when in his own country, where there was war, and one day there was bombing, he was saying, and his father never got out. And he said, because of that, I was only a young man, I was full of hate. I wanted revenge. And he said, Lorna, how can you destroy revenge? And he said, I went back and I joined the army, or whoever he joined. And he said, it's only now that I realise that through wanting revenge and because of hate, I was doing the same thing, destroying others' lives, shattering them, tearing them apart, just to get my revenge. And he said, I only realised that when, he said, I read your books, Angels in My Hair, and I fell in love. He had left his country, he had emigrated, and he was saying, now I look at my children, like you, 2 little toddlers, and he said, every time I look at them, tears come to my eyes, because it reminds me of the horrors I did because of revenge, because of hate. And I think, that's why we have to let more love out. We have to be compassionate and loving. And even to the people that we may feel angry with. We have to take that step back and say, listen here, I don't need to be this angry or hateful person. Let me try and have some compassion. And in doing that alone, making that decision, you are allowing more love out. And when you do that, the more love you allow out, the happier you become, the more at peace you become, and the clearer you can start to see life and life all around you. So that book is very, very important, Love from Heaven. And again, it's sold all around the world and in so many different languages. And it has changed so many people's lives. People would tell me stories, horrific stories of hate, all of those things, and how it has changed them to be compassionate and loving. And the way, because of that, it has changed their lives. So I would love us all to be more loving. Let that love out, don't lock it away. Take that, what I'd call that belt that I just see around even children's chest area, the heart area. It's just like ice. It's cold and it's hard. And we're just so afraid because we don't want to be hurt. But sometimes we have to remember hurt is love as well. When someone says to you, you've done that wrong, or why were you so mean? And you get hurt because of that. And then some people would say, well, I helped this person, I was so good to them, but they weren't good back to me. But that's not the point. You give love with a pure heart and you expect nothing in return. I know I could say loads more, but I better not.
Is there a practical way then that a person could cultivate self-love in their life?
I think the practical way is become conscious of it every day. Try and show love. I think especially to yourself first. Maybe that can help you more. Say to yourself, it's okay to love me. Because again, it's something we're taught not to. But yet that goes out not to love others either. It's okay to share. And I think in allowing yourself to love yourself, and I would always say to people, remember the way your guardian angel loves you unconditionally. So love yourself that way. Take, time out for yourself, even if it's only 5 minutes or, a couple of minutes in the garden. Take it out for yourself and say it's okay. Or if you're having a cup of tea, give yourself that 5 minutes. Or even say to your children, if you have children or teenagers, I'm taking this 5 minutes out for myself, so I don't want anyone to disturb me. Because then you're teaching your children to love themselves too. They could turn around to you later on and say, I'm taking this 5 minutes, Mum and Dad, for myself. And they're just out in the garden looking at the flowers or playing with the dog in that way. But they're so conscious of that they're allowing themselves to love them. Because the more you love yourself, the more you love others. And it's so important, to love the stranger, to love the person you don't know as well. Because, you can't love yourself any more than you could love the stranger. And I suppose, seeing all the things that are happening in the world or here in Ireland, it's kind of allow yourself that love. And even if you see a neighbour or a friend or even a stranger in need of a little help, go and give it. Because again, that reminds me of this man who said to me, I could tell you loads of stories, but I can't tell you his story, but what he had said was, Lorna, I don't understand why. And I will say the other person gave their life for them when they done, again, horrific things. But again, that was love, of that other person who gave their life for them to protect them, because they must have seen good in them, and there's good in everyone, and that's what we have to remember. And most of the time when somebody is angry or anything like that, it is because they've been hurt. So we have to touch them with compassion, with love. We have to touch them in a way that we can help them to see that it's okay. You can relax. You're safe now. And allow them to slowly allow their love out as well. And again, that comes back to trust. So it is important to love yourself so you can love others. So you can even love your partner more. You can love your children more. You can love your parents more and not be blaming them for everything that has happened in your life because you felt, they made so many mistakes when rearing you. If you love yourself, you won't look on life in that way. You will look on life in the way that you see good. And you see good in everything, even in the most baddest person or the most evilest thing in the world. So you're giving hope to the world. You're giving hope to everyone. And that is so important. I know, again, I could go on and on, but...
Lorna, they say that the fear behind all fear is death. Do you think that in your own experience there's anything to fear about death?
One has to be so careful answering that question. That's what I've been reminded of here. One must remember when your time comes, it comes. Sometimes we would say, somebody was in a car accident or they were, they drowned or something like that accidentally, and we would all say they were too young to die. But we have to remember we're born to live, but we're born to die as well. But our soul lives forever. So your loved one, you will see your loved one again. And that again is why I always say to people never to commit suicide, because how much they are needed in the world today. Everyone is needed. I would say there is no reason to fear death when your time comes, because it's only your body that dies. But God has given you, the gift of life. So you're meant to live it to the fullest that you possibly can and enjoy it. So even if there's somebody out there that's young and is feeling, being bullied at school or friends or have no friends, again I would say, don't even allow that thought to cross your mind. You'll get through the situation, and remember your guardian angel is there with you. That reminds me of a young girl who had said she had no friends, and she again had tried to commit suicide, and on 3 occasions. But on those 3 occasions she was saved. Somebody who listened to the guardian angel decided to go and call on her, check on her, and because of that she's still alive today. And she said to me, Lorna, I'm so glad my guardian angel and my friend's guardian angel spoke to my friends and that they listened and checked on me. And she would say, I don't know why I really wanted to commit suicide. I know I felt I was in a dark place and no one cared about me and no one loved me and all of that. But she says, I'm so glad I wasn't successful because I am so happy now. And that's what you have to remember. You will get through it and allow yourself to be happy and allow that self-love that's inside of you to come out in that way. God never wants anyone to commit suicide. He wants you to live your life until your time comes. But even if someone does, he still loves them. And that soul still goes to heaven. But again, I would say, please don't commit suicide at all. Your life is very, very precious. And I know we're going back to suicide because we were talking of death. But again, to remember that, you will meet your loved ones again in heaven. They're not dead, they are alive. And I wish I could prove that to you, but everybody knows at the moment of death that God is real, that their guardian angel is real. And at the moment of death, they see the souls of those that have gone before them. And I'm so glad that that happens for everybody. And again, it's at that moment of death, which lots of people give out to me about, is, that a person asks for forgiveness no matter what they have done. And sometimes I would hear back from people, but, that person was so bad, so why would God forgive them? But God loves us unconditionally as well. He gave us all a little part of himself, that spark, that speck of light that fills literally every single part of a human body. So live life and know you will get through whatever ups and downs you are going through. But remember, there will be loads of happy times in your life. Loads of times you will laugh and smile. Loads of times you will have fun. And try and remember those instead of the negative things. Let all the positive things overcome all of the things that you feel weren't good in your life. See all the wonderful things. Like today, and the sun shining, and the flowers. I'm looking out a window here now, and the sheep in the field, and one butterfly, two butterflies, cabbage patch butterflies.
In the life that we live now, Lorna, say if we choose not to follow the guidance of the divine and get sidetracked, say on a different road, do we get an opportunity to come back on the right path again in our next physical life?
Yeah, you're always given the opportunity to come back again, over and over again and again in your life. You're always given the opportunity to do the right thing or to say no. But the sad thing is that a lot of the time, I would say we listen to the other side and we don't listen to our guardian angel or to what God is telling us. We just have that habit of thinking that material things are the most important things in life. And I know we all need material things, like even myself. We need a roof over our head, and we need food, and we need education, we need medical help as well. And I believe that they are all human rights, and each and every one of us should have them. But we are always given the opportunity to turn around and change our life for the better. It's always there, and it always faces us at different times. And again, at different times you have that choice. But your guardian angel will never overstep your free will. It'll just keep on allowing those things to come in front of you where you can change if you want to. So I never give up on anyone. Like I have met, I'll just tell you another little story. I don't know if we have time or not, but I was at a talk in England, and in the crowd when they came up for the blessing, because I give a blessing to each person individually, and there was this family, a mom, a dad. There was two boys. One boy was 14. I remember him more so than the younger, and then there was a little girl, and the father said, Lorna, I spent years in prison doing all kinds of robberies and bad things. But again, somehow, and I don't know how this happened, but he got someone, or in the prison, someone gave him the book Angels in My Hair. And that man said he didn't want to be in prison anymore. That when he'd get out, he would go on the straight and narrow road. And that's what he's done. And his son, who was 14, just said, "Will you please thank God, oh my guardian angel, we have our dad at home now." You know, it was so heart-rending what the young man said. And just seeing the tears in their eyes, the children and the mother, of having the dad home. And I have heard from that father since. I've got the odd letter. He's still on the straight and narrow. And I think that's what life is about as well. It's about what positive effect you can have on someone's life to change it, to give the hope, to give the love, so that they can be happy. And there's a family that, you know, I know it's not all going to be all of the time full of joy. There'll be ups and downs. But they see hope. They're together as a family. They're there for each other. They love each other. And I know because of that, they'll even be there for others as well. Like that man himself, you know, staying out of prison and having a job and, you know, being there for his family is actually giving hope to others that they can do it too. You know, and then again, another time I met this lovely young man in Limerick prison, and he said to me, "Lorna, I would love to change. I want to change. I want to make that choice." The sad thing he said is that they won't let me. And he didn't mean, you know, the devil or the evil side in that way, but he meant, you know, the criminals won't let him. They said they would kill me, and I have my brother to think of, and my young sister. And I thought that was very sad. I thought, you know, wouldn't it be lovely to be able to take this young man out of prison and his family and give them a new identity somewhere where you'd probably have to do it in another country, where, you know, they wouldn't be murdered in that way just because of all of what they know. To me, that was really sad. So I do pray for that young man.
Lorna, if there's a listener tuning in today and they're feeling lost, lonely and disconnected, what would you suggest for them as a way to transform their lives?
I think if they're feeling lost and lonely, I don't even know if they're working or whether they have many friends or anything like that. But if they're not working, I think they should, in a sense, say and listen to the guardian angel, and to make this as quick as possible, get out there and make friends. If someone rings you and says, "Come out for a drink," or you come out for a coffee, go. Don't be sitting behind closed doors and saying, "I'm lonely, I'm sad, I'm giving up on life." Don't be afraid to go out there and ask for help. That's very, very important. I don't know where this person lives, but that's what they should do, you know, and maybe even go and talk to their family, or invite, you know, someone in their family out for a cup of coffee, you know, just to help them to get out, because they could be, because of being lonely, they might be, in a sense, afraid to talk, afraid to express their emotions, afraid to talk about how they feel. And remember, that is okay. You know, but the important thing, I think, for them is to go and look for help. And I know there's lots of places where they can do that. But again, it depends on what part of the country they're in. and ask their guardian angel to give them the courage and the confidence they need to do it. But their guardian angel can't take that first step for them. They have to do it themselves. So I will pray that they will have the courage and confidence to do so.
Can you tell me a little bit about your workshop that you're doing with Mike Dooley there at the end of the month?
Yeah, I'm doing a workshop with Mike Dooley at the end of the month on the 28th, and it's a full day workshop, and we're going to cover lots of interesting things to help everyone in their everyday, ordinary life, as I call it, and to help you through good times and bad times, to help you to grow more spiritually and to connect with your guardian angel. And it is from 10:30 to 5 at, I think it's TALSLOT, if you can make out what that spells, Hotel Stologan in Dublin.
The Talbot Hotel.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And on the 11th of August, I'm doing a Zoom webinar, question and answers, for 30 minutes. And then on the 23rd of August, there's another one for 15 minutes. And you use hash using your angel. And that's at 7 o'clock on the 23rd. And the other one is on the 11th of August for 30 minutes. I think that one is at 7 p.m.
Great, Lorna. And if people want to get tickets for your workshop, how can they do it?
Yeah, it's on Facebook as well, and I think you can ring the hotel as well, and they'll book you in as well. And Mike Dooley, he's from the States, and he's a great inspiration in that way on the meaning of life. And I'm really looking forward to doing this workshop with them here in Ireland. I've had hundreds of people always ask me, when are you going to do a workshop here in Ireland? And I'm doing one now, so I'm looking forward to doing it and to spending the day personally with everyone, and with Mike as well. We'll have great fun, we'll have really a nice time, and I know it will be crowded with everyone's guardian angel, but I know there will be lots of other angels there as well.
Great, Lorna. And I know people can get tickets on seminars.ie website as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks so much for your time today, Lorna. I really appreciate it and I really enjoyed it as well.
Same here, and I loved talking to you, and I love that accent.
Thanks so much.
God
Bye-bye.
bless.
God bless.
Lots.
Bye-bye.
The health zone. The health zone. The health zone.
Thanks for listening to another inspiring and thought-provoking show of The Health Zone. I'm Mícheál Ó Mathúna. Just to remind you, you can find us on facebook.com/The Health Zone Show, or you can join our Facebook group, The Health Zoners. We're also on Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest under The Health Zone. To gain further invaluable resources on health and well-being, go to our website www.thehealthzoneshow.com. When you're on there, join The Health Zone and you'll receive a free copy of my latest ebook, 7 Ways to Boost Your Overall Well-Being. Finally, I would love to hear any feedback you may have on the show, and even if there are any particular guests or topics which you're interested in, please email me on tunein@thehealthzoneshow.com. Until next time, this is Mícheál. Thanks for listening, and I wish you a very healthy, happy and authentic week.
Living